So we welcome you for the discussion. And I, Ashish Gupta, a lead technical architect for IoT in DataRitz Technologies. I will be joined by Krishna sir and Gulshan sir. Krishna sir is lead technical architect in cybersecurity networking and cloud computing, whereas Gulshan sir is a project consultant in IoT. So before moving off to the discussion, let us see some guidelines for the participants. Please be on mute during the topic delivery so there will not be disturbance. You can ask your queries after the session or you can type in the chat box also. And in case of any audio video connectivity issue, you can use chat box and you can use the same link again and can join back. You can note down all your questions and ask during the query session. Post session, the participants can be connected through a mail or WhatsApp. We will be available and we will request you to fill feedback that will be sent on your mail after the session. And for more webinars in the future, you can visit our social media pages or the website. So this will be our agenda for today's discussion. We will first see what are the real world challenges. As the technology is to solve those challenges, so we will have an overview of the challenges first. Then we will see how traditional solutions are catering those challenges, and then why IoT is required above the edge of those traditional challenges. Then we will see what exactly the IoT means. And this will be further discussed using three projects, that is Smart City, Possibilities Unlimited, Smart Agriculture, that will tell us how we can optimally use our natural resources, and Smart Healthcare, that can give us better diagnostic and better treatment for the patient. Then at last, we will see the impact of IoT on the economy, businesses, how it will create a job or in the society. And then we will have conversation after that. So let us see the challenges. The first challenges is the growing population. So the growing population is the biggest challenges as for the Indian scenario also. Let us take an example of traffic. Where Delhi NCR has a very big population, it is very difficult to manage the traffic and there is traffic congestion at a lot of places. And due to this problem faced, our government is facing the challenges to implement policies in a better way. And it is a bottleneck in the planning of the government. The policies to provide infrastructure relies on data. And this data generally is collected manually and it takes some time to reach the data to the government. So manual reports are sent at the central control command. Like take a scenario of COVID-19 also. The reports are made on the papers and it is updated on the central level like that. So the other problem we are facing in the India is complex social environment. We have different types of people with different thoughts and a solution given by somebody may not be easily acceptable by everyone. So there must be a central solution which can be accepted by all. So this is our challenge, and IoT can cater these challenges. We will look in future. And automatic system which can involve less human interaction can be implemented, and the rules and policies might be implemented in a better way. Then the third challenge is a low awareness of the education level. Uh, in an example of agriculture, farmers have a very limited knowledge about the weather, about seeds, about manure. But if he can predict the insect is going to kill its crops, then he can take some preventive measures and he can save the crop. It will save it cost also. Also, if he can have some automatic systems like automatic watering systems, he can measure the moisture in the soil, then it will help him to you save the water and energy usages. The next problem is the high cost of labor. This labor cost is increasing day by day, and industry is facing the demands of the labor changing very widely. So the limitation also is there, uh, that labor cannot work continuously for more than 8 hours or 10 hours. So we are going to implement some machines which can work continuously and give a better productivity. But again, the machines are like an open control system. we are taking a feedback like supervision and all, but again a supervisor or a person, a manual person is needed to take a decision to actuate something. So again it is a problem. Then the last problem is the resource scarcity. Every country resources are limited in a manner, so to optimize the use of those resources is a challenge for the government also. For example, water and electricity, people have plenty of them and they generally waste it. But if they have a means that they can monitor how much energy is wasted or how much water is wasted, it will create an awareness in the person, and he will certainly save some water or the light. So these challenges are generally catered with traditional solutions, and let us look on it. If KV sir can add something on it, I will invite him for the discussion.
Yeah, as we have seen into the previous slide, these are the challenges which we are facing right now. And now look at the data onto the right side of your screen. What is predicted by that 2050? There would be 9.7 billion people living on this planet, and the increase in food demand would be by current demand 70% plus. So the population living in urban areas again increased by 70%. So the challenge is going to really, really very hard. It's going into the direction if we try to solve these problems with the existing technologies or tools. So we are nowhere to solve these problems with the existing tools what we traditionally use over here. So let's have a look what traditionally we are doing and what are the challenges we are facing.
Okay, so let us discuss traditional solutions which are built as of now. The solutions are built on low availability of data, or there is non-availability of data at all. Even the data has some empty spaces which cannot be identified very quickly, and the data is saved on a remote location and then accessed, and then the decision has been made on based on that data. Even there is no real-time data collector, there is a delay in the data which reaches to the central server, and then after the analysis there is again a delay to take some action on it. No real-time feedback control is there, and we need to live with what is built. It is very difficult to modify the solution which is existing. Even if want to change a small minute change in the device or the system, then it may cost a lot. It may take a lot of time also, and it will cost the industry or an individual user also. The cost of solution is very high. If we consider this cost as of like a maintenance of the system also, the cost is actually getting very high with the existing solution, because it also involves the manual supervision for the automatic systems also. So traditional solutions are costing high, and then number of resources allocated for the solution is often very high from the real environment. I would take an example of an industry. Suppose an industry require 100 pieces of raw material to build something. So considering the losses or waste, the industry provide the raw material to the labor more than 100. So it's generally often very high from what the real requirement is. And there is no monitoring where the raw material is used properly and where the material is wasted. So this way, the traditional solutions are lack somewhere. So as you can see in the picture also, there are some traditional methods which are costing the pollution also. So we need to curb down the pollution and we need to optimize the energy usage also. So now let us see why IoT.
Like there are challenges which we have already solved with the help of traditional solutions, but these solutions are not catering us to our next level needs, or we can say the needs which would arrive in the next decade or so. The real challenges lies into the real time availability of data, because with traditional solutions the flow of data is really very slow. The We cannot manage the things with the current pace of data. The solution lies in IoT. We have, if we have IoT in place, we have real time data availability in place, as you can see into the picture which is shown onto your screen right side again. So there is a solution which is being communicated to the control peoples, and the control people's data is being connected to the mobile hotspot that is uploaded to cloud, and then from the cloud it is available for analysis with the higher level management. So this creates an opportunity for a real-time interaction from bottom to top or top to bottom, both directional communication. Data formats, when we talk about manually, when we do the data collection and processing, lot many times it happens that we left over some data, or we do not understand the importance of the data. Hence, the data becomes quietly inconsistent in nature, which later on becomes a challenge for the people who wants to play with that data, or who wants to have some prediction built on top of that data. So this becomes a really great problem for us. Again, when we are capturing data from the help of IoT, the machines do not lie. They capture the data which they are meant for, and the data formats are consistent. The accuracy of data acquisition is high because, again, the sampling rate is not going to change if power supply is there, if the device is there for working. It will consistently accumulate the data. So we will have high accuracy of data available with us. Again, the overall cost of implementation, if we talk about into the like current scenario, if we are gonna have this much amount of data, or data at this rate, the implementation cost would be really very high. But when we are dealing with the IoT, the collection of this data and everything, what we wish to connect to the network and what we wish to predict for the future, overall cost would be really very cheap for us. Again, what we are gonna do with the lot much amount of data, again, this data will help us in better planning and management of the overall process, what we are looking at. Because sometimes what happens, we design a solution in a certain way. We think that this would be the output and this would be the impact of the solution. Means X would be the output and Y would be the impact onto the society. But that do not happens exactly. Taking into the case like we recently we have seen a news in Hyderabad, like where a car had jumped over from the flyover and got onto the bus shed, and later on it was identified that this was a design problem which were identified later on, but the authorities are waiting for this disaster to happen, and then they close that flyover. So again, the data flow is not two-way. The authorities are not able to envisage the things at the right time and correct the things at the right time. But if we have a IoT in place which is observing the speed variations over there in that particular case, or we can say the different movement parameters, the authorities would be alerted well in time. So they would avoid these situations in the management control. So again, uh, the high efficiency of resource utilization is again a boon with the IoT, because because we can monitor in real time, so we can reduce or we can save a lot much precious resource. Taking into the consideration of a recent project what we have worked on, I got to know that to cultivate a single kg of rice in Indian context, we require 5,000 liters of water for 1 kg of rice to cultivate in India. Where in Europe, the farmers use 2,500 or something liters to cultivate that 1 kg of rice. But you will be amazed to know, if we develop a smart agriculture model and sensor-based irrigation with the help of IoT, we can cultivate the same 1 kg of rice in 3 to 400 liters only. So this much is the gap, which is in terms of resources, the resources are getting waste because not presence of proper monitoring infrastructure in place. So in India, we all know that we use flood irrigation, but what the traditional method is doing is wasting the resources, the natural resources, to a vast content. So now move on to the next section of this presentation. Gulshan sir, I invite you.
People must have listening a buzzword of IoT since 15 minutes. So let them introduce what is IoT now. Gulshan sir, platform for you.
Thank you, Ashish sir and Kashmir sir. Hello, friends. So you have understood the real world challenges and the solution needed for those challenges. Now you must be wondering about what is IoT. So to understand IoT, we must know three terms. First is connecting devices, connecting things. And things can be sensors, actuator, processors, controllers. Second is communication infrastructure. It can be a wired communication or wireless communication like internet or Wi-Fi. Third one is computing data, data storage, data processing, and data analysis. Now, in terms of IoT, data is of two types. First one is data from sensors, the direct values, like temperature sensor gives a temperature of room or a human body. So that is the direct value of sensor. Second one is derived value from the sensors, like GPS gives coordinates value, but the derived value is like distance and direction where the person is standing. So broadly speaking, IoT is a network of connecting things which transfer the data to servers for processing, analysis, and after this analysis, a human or application decide what to do next or take decisions for further. Here, the picture you are looking at your screen is the detailed version of IoT. If I go step by step, one is device connection, same sensors, devices, or embedded boards connections connected to each other. Data sensing, sensors detect the physical parameters or sense the data, drive values also. Then communication, it transfer the data from sensors to the servers. At servers, there is data analysis. We use or IoT use new technology like big data analysis or artificial intelligence to analyze the data, whatever they are getting. So data value is the results obtained from the analysis of data by big data or artificial intelligence. Last one is human value. After getting the results, human decide through its application or through its devices or by human itself what to do next, take decisions. Okay, so it is clear that IoT is not only electronics, but it is a combination of communication, electronics, and computer engineering. So I hope it gives a better idea of IoT, what is IoT, and how it works. Over to you, Ashish sir.
We will have a more idea seeing this video. Let us have first idea. Smart city. guys, hope you get a very good idea about smart cities. And the best part in the video I like is Alex sitting on a wheelchair and has the power to control the traffic light so that he can cross the side, the road. Even Eva can find a parking space without wasting any time. And she need not to go anywhere else and search for the traffic where she can park.
Ashish sir,
And
I just want to request one thing, that all the participants are requested to share. Those who have not registered for the webinar and are attending this, request to please share their email ID on the chat box so that we'll be able to arrange your certificates for this webinar. Thank you. Please continue.
okay, so I'd like to draw your attention that at present, on an average, a single person is connected with 10 devices, and in coming decade, it will be more than 20. Even a mobile phone has at least 5 to 10 sensors and continuously transferring data over the cloud. So IoT promises a way to reduce waste and cost also, as well as it reduces the inconvenience while increase the efficiency and promises the cleaner environment. It provides suitable taste ambience, like you can control your lights of the room, and according to the your taste or the need, the light can be controlled even in the office. Proactive action can be taken in case of security breach. Someone is trying to cross the wall of your house. Action can be initiated, and for the security purpose, it will be very helpful. Before the threat, before the breach, the person can be caught. So the smart lighting and smart street lights means they can switch on in the night time only, and even when there is motion, we can control those lights. So it is all about the idea of the smart sensors and having unlimited possibilities. Now let us look more deeper insight about this IoT with our second idea, that is smart farming.
The planet's climate is changing. This is undeniable. Climate change presents a critical challenge for global food security. The men and women who produce our food, farmers, herders, and fishers, are hit the hardest by the consequences of climate change. Farming communities need to build their resilience and ability to adapt to changing climate in a way that they can feed a growing population without further depleting our precious reserves of soil and water. This is why we need climate-smart agriculture. Climate-smart agriculture is not a new technique. It is an approach to identify production systems that can best respond to the impacts of climate change and to adjust these systems to suit local environmental conditions now and in the future. This approach can help transform agricultural systems to support sustainable development and food security in a changing climate. It's about increasing sustainably production and incomes, adapting and building resilience to the impacts of climate change, and wherever possible, reducing greenhouse gases. We can make climate-smart agriculture a reality. These are the ingredients we need. Expand the evidence base. Policymakers need to know the current and projected impacts of climate change, and just how vulnerable the agricultural communities and ecosystems really are. Improve policies. People working in many different fields, agriculture, climate change, food security, and land use, need to collaborate. Work together on supportive policies and plans, taking into account the entire landscape. Support and empower local institutions. Local institutions are needed to develop capacities and motivate men and women farmers. This way, they can adapt their practices and plan together the best way to do climate-smart agriculture. Combine financing options in a new way. We need to bring together financing sources that target agriculture and climate change. Food security depends on how we treat our planet. Let's make sure our agriculture is productive and sustainable for generations to come.
there was a lot of money in the video, right? So Krishna sir, kindly have some discussion on it.
Yeah, I'll explain about the smart agriculture as I have already discussed the case with the rice production. So water management is again a very critical part, especially when we talk about India, especially. Like you must have heard, all have heard the news that our capital Delhi, beloved Delhi, is going to water zero in the next few months. So there would be no groundwater available in Delhi. So if we are not gonna manage this availability of drinkable water, this is going to really very scarce to us. And 70% of all drinkable water available to India is being used with agriculture. And we have already discussed the case that approximately 90% water resources can be optimized in terms of agriculture if we use IoT in that. So water management is a very critical part. Again, water management is critical in terms of like a farmer getting involved into like farming into and aggregating the fields with the flood irrigation. They need to visit to the farms. They need to stay up over the night in multiple cycles. A single crop requires 5 to 6 cycles of flood irrigation, and then there is lot much manpower involved, and lot much efforts are involved in growing the crops. So by the traditional methods, but as you see into the diagram, this farmer has all the information from the fields directly with the help of different sensors which are deployed onto the fields, taking care of his greenhouse and where the plant is being growing, how much moisture is there, how much nutrients are there, and with the help of LoRaWAN is getting information through the cloud to his mobile app, and he can control directly to the all these sensors and actuators into the field. So again, not water management only, but soil moisture sensing, as we have mentioned into the example. Then machines for routine operations. In traditional operations, what we have seen so far, we are using very heavy machinery as of now. And again, with respect to latest research, it has been exposed that if we use so much heavy machinery into the fields, it crushes the under surface livelihood of worms and all, which not only helps in the increasing yield of the crop, but the nutrient value of the crop as well. But in presence of heavy machineries, these under surface worms are being crushed, being dead. They are not able to supply nitrogen or the different nutrients which they fetch from the environment and provide to the under soil surface or the roots of the plant. Then again, crop monitoring, how much the crop is grown, whether there is any disease, whether it requires watering cycle. It requires a very rigorous effort from a farmer. So if talking about from the viewpoint of a farmer, if we automate this whole operation, this will reduce the overall manpower involved in it, the efforts involved in the overall process, and obviously it will optimize the resource utilization, and again the profit value for a farmer will definitely get a huge increase, because the farmer can utilize his time to the different resources where he can earn more, or he can open the second source of income as well. But in present scenario, the farmer need to be fully occupied with the farm throughout the cycle of a crop. So this is the positive side of the technology with respect to agriculture. Now let's discuss the next case, what we are right now exploring these days.
Yeah, very much needed for the time this hour.
Yeah, COVID-19 is badly requiring this. If that was already there, we would be in much better situation.
The rise of the Internet of Things has potentially life-saving applications within the healthcare industry. By collecting data from bedside devices, viewing patient information, and diagnosing in real time, the entire system of patient care could be improved. Not to mention the patient experience. By 2019, 87% of all healthcare organizations will have implemented IoT technology. But today, many healthcare devices operate in silos. Over a third of healthcare organizations don't apply data from connected devices to other business processes. An issue that creates inefficiency, potential for data loss, and mistakes in diagnosis. Effective healthcare depends on speed and accuracy, and we have seen a huge range of devices becoming connected as IoT takes hold. Over 50% of devices on healthcare networks in the next 2 years will be IoT devices. Like those you see here, from handheld devices to health records to medical equipment, the industry is embracing the world of connected things. With a common language and a single platform for these devices to operate, the potential for IoT is limitless. For caregivers, the ability to easily monitor and manage patient health can save precious minutes every day. Without having to manually visit each patient, the expert can give a remote diagnosis and track medical assets, providing quality care more quickly and managing the healthcare environment more efficiently. Using sensors and Wi-Fi, the ability to locate the right department in a hospital while retrieving essential information becomes straightforward for both caregivers and patients. Nearly 3/4 of healthcare leaders who have adopted IoT believe its key benefit will be to monitor and control medical devices and sensors. From patient heart monitors to temperature gauges, this real-time data already exists in healthcare. And now it can be used to create a safer and more effective environment. Through a single application on a mobile device, patients and staff can securely manage IoT data. IoT means an easier and more efficient patient care experience, allowing staff to do their jobs better. Which is why 76% of healthcare leaders predict it's going to transform their industry.
So, Gulshan sir?
Yeah. So, as Krishna has told that we all are facing a COVID-19 situation, and I hope everyone is staying at home and staying safe. So, before going further, I would like to ask how many of you think that IoT healthcare sector is going to rise in coming future, in coming years? I think many of you thinking that, yeah, IoT in healthcare sector is rising. Yeah, obviously. So right now, it was assumed that previously years, it was assumed that the market share of IoT healthcare sector is about 30% pre-COVID situation. And it is assumed that it is going to rise approximate 40%, even more than 40% after COVID-19 situation. So India, where the population is at the second largest, and the doctor-patient ratio is 1:1800, which is very less than WHO recommendation. The WHO recommended ratio is 1:1000, and India has almost half of it. That puts India at 145 rank in healthcare sector out of 200 countries. That is very bad. That is sad. So whenever we think about IoT in healthcare sector, we generally think about smart hospitals. But smart hospitals is a part of smart city, as you already know that. It is also supported by smart infrastructure, means smart buildings, smart transportation, and also smart logistics. So what make hospitals smart? How it is better diagnostics, better treatment. What make hospitals smart is like connected units, hospital units like emergency ward, connected to ICU, connected to testing labs, and all units are connected to each other. Second is connected devices. heart rate monitoring, BP monitoring, ECG, temperature monitoring. All devices are connected to each other for the patient health monitoring. Third one is connected database, patients records connected to patients, mobile and doctors, and even to hospitals. So these make a hospital smart. So what services healthcare provides? Smart healthcare provides it provides better emergency care by providing real-time data to avoid any error, any fatality. Better uh, remote patient remote care by streaming audio and video. Better ICU hardwares, critical hardwares to avoid fatal situation. Better you say health monitoring by tracking patients' health vitals through the wearable devices. Also, it provides a better pharmacy, which gives you error-free medicines. Like you see, smart pills tells you that okay, it is the time to take your medicines. Take it, and it will notify you, patient, and also doctor if you misses it. So I think IoT healthcare will rise tremendously in upcoming years or in futures. So I think we should go ahead. Kashmir sir.
Yeah, Krishna, thank you. And I would like to add the one of the case now in Bangalore. Fortis have been using robots, Mitra and Mitri, and they are helping doctors in the sense that when a patient came, they will sense the temperature, they will ask the symptoms of the patient, they will note it down, and if required, then they will make a call, video call to the doctor, and patient can be interacted without any interaction with the patient and doctor directly. So this will help to decrease the spread of the disease. So let us now see the impact on business, economy, and society. So one impact is like the robots installed in the hospital. So this will be like creating new startups, ecosystems around IoT areas. And I have also previously said that the one person is connected to at least 10 devices, and this will be tremendously increasing in coming years. So the new products, services, revenue models will emerge, which attract investment and therefore will create jobs in the IoT area. There will be a potential to increase the import as well as export. We will be importing the raw materials such as PCBs or the ICs, which are not manufactured in India, and we can make the devices and we can export those devices as well as services, the products of the solution. Even I would say that it will lead to the emergence of ancillary and supporting industries, such as manufacturing of raw material for the devices, PCB systems, and with decision control and analytics, security solutions to ensure safety. It will promote the IT sector also. So it will be a very large impact on the business as well as the economy. And an estimation is again is there that in the next decade there will be more than 50 billion devices which will be connected over the internet, and it will be making internet of things. This is all about connecting the things which are around you, like a table, like a television, refrigerator, or a washing machine, or a light. These all things are communicating with each other and transferring data, and then analysis is make it, and then based on that data, some action is taken on. I will take a very small example like a refrigerator. If the stock is empty, then the camera can sense and it will directly order the stock for the vendor, and the vendor can make it ready and delivered at your house. So this is the impact which we can see the IoT can make, and we can transform our lives. So we are towards the end of our session, and in the next webinar we will be discussing about processors and controllers, sensors and actuators, which are used actually to develop this type of devices. And you can start making your prototype using Arduino, Node MCU, or Raspberry Pi.
And I request you to please, for more information, you can, click all the three, presenters are here, so you can follow them on LinkedIn also.